Welcome everyone, I am Srinivasan. In this video you are going to learn about the basics of computer. We begin our class with the question, what is computer? A computer is an electronic device. Any device that uses current is an electronic device, but what makes computer so special is that it is a multi-purpose programmable electronic device. What do we mean by multi-purpose? Most devices can be described by their function. For example, calculator, fan, TV, washing machine, DVD player, etc. etc. Computers, however, can be used for almost any purpose. For example, a computer can be used as a typewriter, video player, video audio editor, accounts tracker, database, book, DVD or CD player, and many others. And computers are programmable. Computers respond to instructions in the form of programs. Program is a step-by-step instruction to tell computer what to do and how to do it. Programs are written in order to make computers behave in specific ways. Programs are stored in the computer memory. By memory, here we means read only memory, which is a hard disk. And computer is a machine that performs calculations and processes information with astonishing speed and precision. A computer can take thousands of individual pieces of data and turn them into more usable information with blinding speed and almost unfailing accuracy. How computer process information? We answer to this question by using black box model. The computer accepts inputs, that is data, via input devices. The input devices translate the information into a form understandable by the computer, which means the computer is able to understand only 0 and 1s. It is a binary number. Bi means bi, bi means 2. It is 0 and 1. 0 means off, 1 means on. So the input is translated into a binary numbers and processed. The process produces output, and the output is given to us by the output devices. Output devices translate the computer's output into a form understandable by the users. Here in this example, 1 and 2 is a decimal numbers, and 1 and 2 is converted into a equivalent binary number, and the addition arithmetic operation is performed, and the output is translated again to a decimal number which can be understood by the user. And the components of the computer system. There are 3 components of the computer system. Computer systems are made up of hardware, which is the actual machinery parts such as monitors, wires, transistors and circuits, and the software. The instructions are programs that control the hardware. And third, the user. We, humans who interacts with the system. If you have a computer without the software, which means the operating system, the computer is incomplete without the operating system. You have a computer and the operating systems installed, then there is no user to interact with the system, then there is no purpose to have a computer. So hardware, software and the user, these three components made up a computer system. And next one is the generation of the computer. There are 5 generations of computer. The first one is vacuum tubes. First generation computer uses vacuum tubes from 1940 to 1956. The first computer systems used vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic terms for memory. And the first generation computers is enormous, taking up an entire room. These computers were very expensive to operate, and in addition to using a great deal of electricity. The first computers generate a lot of heat, which was often the cause of malfunctions. The first generation computers relied on machine language, the lowest programming language understood by the computers, which means the binary numbers. And they could only solve one problem at a time. It would take operators days or even weeks to set up a new problem. Input was based on punched cards and paper tapes, and the output was displayed on printouts. The examples for first generation computers is Universal Automatic Computer, pronounced as UNIVAC, and Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, pronounced as ENIAC. And the second generation computers uses transistors from 1956 to 1963. The world would see transistors replace vacuum tubes in the second generation of the computers. The transistors was invented at Bell Labs in 1947, but did not see widespread use in computers until the late 1950s. The transistors was far superior to the vacuum tubes, allowing computers to become smaller, faster, cheaper, and more energy efficient and more reliable than the first generation predecessors. Though the transistors still generate a great deal of heat that subjected the computer to damage, it was a vast improvement over the vacuum tube. Second generation computers still relied on punched cards for input and outputs. The examples for second generation computers are IBM 1620 and UNIVAC 1108. And the third generation computer. Third generation computers uses integrated circuits, commonly known as IC or a chip. It was from 1964 to 1971. The development of the integrated circuit was the hallmark of the third generation of computers. Transistors were miniaturized and placed on silicon chips called semiconductors, which drastically increased the speed and efficiency of the computer. The third generation computers uses integrated circuits. IC is a circuit. A single IC has many transistors, resistors, and capacitors along with the associated circuitry. It uses large scale integration. The IC is said to use a small scale integration, SSI, small scale integration, if it contains fewer than 10 transistors. An IC that contains from 10 to 100 transistors is said to use medium scale integration, MSI. A large scale integration IC contains from 100 to 1000 transistors, and one that uses very large scale integration, VLSI, contains more than 1000 transistors. Keyboards is used as for input, and output devices such as monitors are used in the third generation computers. The examples for this third generation computers is IBM 360 series and PDP, personal data processor. And the fourth generation computers uses microprocessor. The fourth generation computers brought the microprocessor as thousands of integrated circuits were built onto a single chip. What in the first generation filled an entire room could now fit in the palm of the hand. In 1981, IBM introduced its first computer for home users, and in 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh. The fourth generation uses very large scale integration circuits. An IC, which is a single IC, contains more than 1000 transistors. I repeat the order of the scale integrations. Small scale integrations, SSI, contains fewer than 10 transistors, and medium scale integrations, MSI, contains 10 to 100 transistors. Large scale integrations, LSI, contains 100 to 1000 transistors, and very large scale integration, VLSI, contains more than 1000 transistors. For example, for this generation computers is IBM 4341 and Apple Macintosh. And the fifth generation computers is artificial intelligence. Fifth generation computing devices based on artificial intelligence are still in development, though there are some applications such as voice recognitions that are being used today, and also natural language understanding. You can use the Google Assistant is also a artificial intelligence. And the types of computers. Types of computers. The computer is classified in two different ways. First by their functionality and by their size. According to functionality, there are two types of computers: analog computer and digital computer. Analog computer is able to understand continuous physical phenomena such as electrical, mechanical, or hydraulic quantities to model the problem being solved. The digital computer, on the other hand, that performs calculations and logical operations with quantities represented as digits, usually in the binary number systems. The computers we are using nowadays is a digital computer. On the basis of size, the computer is classified as supercomputer, mainframe computer, mini computer, personal computer, and workstation. And next we will see the computer organization. The most computers are based on model proposed by John von Neumann in 1946. Nowadays, all the computers are using this models only. The model contains three parts: input device and the central processing unit and output device. First, we will see the input device. The input device translates the information into a form understandable by the computer, which means binary number system. The input unit contains devices with the help of which we enter data into the computer. This unit creates a link between the user and the computer. And the output device. The output device is translate the computer's output into a form understandable by the users, which means the binary numbers translated into a human understandable form, which means letters and numbers. So understand this: the input device translate the information we are giving to the computer, which is letters or numbers, and input device translate that information into a form like binary number system, which is zeros and ones, and the output device translates binary numbers zeros and ones into a form understandable by the users, which is letters or numbers. And the CPU is a central processing unit that performs all type of data processing operations. CPU stores data, intermediate results, and instructions. It controls the operations of all parts of the computer. CPU itself has the following three components: arithmetic logic unit, memory unit, and control unit. Arithmetic logic unit is a digital circuit used to perform arithmetic and logical operations. Arithmetic operations include addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and modulation. And logical operations are and, or, and not. I will explain them later when we talk about the memory. It represents the fundamental building block of the CPU of a computer, and the most of the operations of the CPU are performed by the arithmetic logical units, which load data from input registers. Registers is also a part of the memory. A register is a small amount of storage available as a part of the CPU. And memory unit. The computer memory can store data and instruction. A memory unit is an essential feature of all computer systems. A computer memory is the storage space in the computer system where both data and the program's instructions are first stored. For example, registers, random access memory, and read-only memory. Random access memory is described as a primary memory, and ROM, read-only memory, is described as a secondary memory. In computer organization, the RAM and registers are built into the system. And the control unit. Control unit tells the arithmetic logic unit what operations to perform on data received from memory, and the arithmetic logical unit stores the result back to the memory. The control unit moves data between arithmetic logic unit and the memory. And input devices. There are a lot of input devices available in there. We have some of the important input devices which are used in the computer. The first one is a keyboard. Keyboard is the most common and very popular input device which helps to input data to the computer. Keyboard normally contains 104 keys or 108 keys. Nowadays, many keyboards have our rupees symbol in the keyboard. We will see then we will see the keys and their descriptions. First, the typing keys. Letter A to Z. These are the typing keys, and the digits keys which are 0 to 9. And the function keys. Function keys, there are total 12 function keys available there from F1 to F12. It is used as a function keys are represented on the keyboards which are arranged in a row at the top of the keyboard. Each function key has a unique meaning and is used for some specific purposes. And control keys. These keys provide cursor and screen control. It includes 4 directional arrow keys which are up, down, left, and right. Control keys include home, end, insert, delete, page up, page down. Page up and page down keys are commonly used in word processors. And control key, alternate key, and escape key. And some of the special purpose keys are enter, shift, caps lock, num lock, space bar, tab, and print screen. Next we will see mouse. A mouse is the most popular pointing device. Generally it has 2 buttons called left and right button, and a wheel is present between the buttons. A mouse can be used to control the position of the cursor on the screen but it cannot be used to enter text into the computer. DPI, dots per inch. DPI is a measurement of how sensitive a mouse is. The higher a mouse's DPI, the farther the cursor or your screen move when you move the mouse. The farther the cursor on your screen move when you move the cursor. And the joystick. These input joystick commonly used in gaming systems. A joystick is also a pointing device which is used to move the cursor position on a monitor screen. The joystick can be moved in all four directions. The function of joystick is similar to that of a mouse. It is mainly used in computer aided designing and playing computer games. And the digitizer. Digitizer is an input device which converts analog information into a digital form. Digitizer is also known as tablet or graphic tablet, as it converts graphics and pictorial data into binary inputs. A graphic tablet as digitizer is used for fine works of drawing and image manipulation applications. And next one is microphone. Microphone is used for various applications such as adding sound to a multimedia presentation or for mixing music. And the important one, magnetic ink card reader. And the next one is scanner. Scanner is an input device which works more like a photocopy machine. It is used when some information is available on paper, and it is used to be transformed to the hard disk of the computer for further manipulation. And the next one is magnetic ink card reader, MICR. You can if you have a passbook, bank passbook or checkbook, you can see the MICR code of your bank in your bank passbook. MICR input device is generally used in banks. The bank's code number and check number are printed on the checks with the special type of ink that contains particles of magnetic material that are machine readable. This reading process is called magnetic ink character recognition. Magnetic ink character recognition, MICR. The main advantage of MICR is that it is fast and less error prone. And next one is optical character reader. By character we means a letter, a digit, or a special symbol like comma, quotation marks, like that. So the optical character reader is an input device used to read a printed text. OCR, optical character reader, scans the text optically, character by character, converts them into a machine readable code and stores the text on the system memory. The machine readable code, we means binary number systems. And optical mark reader, OMR. Everyone, many of them familiar with this one, OMR. OMR is a special type of optical scanner used to recognize the type of mark made by pen or pencil. It is used where one out of a few alternatives is to be selected and marked. It is specially used for checking the answer sheets of examinations having multiple choice questions. And output devices. There are many output devices. The first one we are going to see is monitor. Monitors, commonly called as Visual Display Unit, VDU. The main output device of a computer is a monitor. It forms images from tiny dots called pixels that are arranged in a rectangular form. The sharpness of the image depends upon the number of pixels. Pixels means picture element. If you zoom in a picture, you can see a rectangular form that is the pixels. The more the pixels, the higher the quality. There are two kinds of viewing screen for monitors. One is cathode ray tube CRT monitors and flat panel display. The CRT monitor is a display made up of small picture elements called pixels. I already said that pixel means picture element. The smaller the pixels, the better the image clarity or resolution. A finite number of characters can be displayed on a screen at once. The screen can be divided into a series of character boxes, fixed locations on the screen where a standard character can be placed. And another one is flat panel display monitor. The flat panel display refers to a class of video devices that have reduced volume, weight and power requirement in comparison to the CRT. There are two categories of flat panel display: LED and LCD, light emissive displays and non-emissive displays. The first one is emissive displays. Emissive displays are devices that convert electrical energy into light. For example, plasma panel and LED, light emitting diodes. And non-emissive displays. Non-emissive displays use optical effects to convert sunlight or light from some other source into graphics pattern. For example, liquid crystal device, commonly known as LCD. And printer. Printer is an output device which is used to print the information on paper. There are two types of printers. One is impact printer and non-impact printer. Impact printers print the characters by striking them on the ribbon, which is then pressed on the paper. The characteristics of impact printers are: it is very low consumable cost, it is very noisy, it is useful for bulk printing due to its low cost, there is a physical contact with the paper to produce an image. There are two types of impact printers. One is character printer and another one is line printer. And next one is non-impact printers. Non-impact printers print the characters without using the ribbon. These printers print a complete page at a time. Thus, they are also called as page printers. There are two types of non-impact printers: laser printers and inkjet printers. The characteristics of non-impact printers are: it is faster than the impact printers and they are not noisy. The quality of the impact printers is high. It supports many fonts and different character size. And the final output device is a speaker. A speaker is an output device in that it takes electrical signals that are output from an amplifier and changes them into sound energy that our ears can interpret. So it converts an analogous signals. It converts the discrete signals into an analogous signal, which we can understand. That's all for now. We will see in the next video. Thank you.